Hello, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we are going to be playing with some makeup that is fairly new to me by a brand or a creator or whatever called Kari Gran. I talked about this in my 15 brands that I want to try in 2019 video, and I bit the bullet. I bought this. You guys, this is like 80 bucks for this combo. This is the Kari Gran Essential Serum and the Kari Gran Mineral Foundation, and the idea here is that it's kind of a DIY custom foundation. You're going to mix these together to your liking, to your preference for coverage and what have you. This is not a first impression because I wanted to get the hang of this, and I will tell you, much like a lot of these natural foundations that I've been trying, there is a learning curve here. It is a little bit weird, so we will get into that. I'm going to do a full day wear test on this to show you guys, and then also you can't do a Kari Gran review without talking about the lip whip. So I did go ahead and pull the trigger on the lip whip. I got it in the shade Jolene. I'm gonna be honest guys, again, not a first impression. I have tried this. The one thing the jury's out on is this color on me. I really thought it was going to be a little bit more berry, or maybe I just thought I was experimenting. I don't know. It's no one's fault, but I'm going to do kind of a pink cheek look to go with this so that hopefully it's a little bit more wearable. So before I zoom you guys in, if you are new here, hello. This is my channel. I don't really have a spiel prepared that I do in the beginning of my videos. Basically, we focus on clean beauty and also like mindfulness, meditation, self-love, just general positivity here. So it's a very welcoming, very supportive fam. So we would be happy to have you join. So make sure that you subscribe before you leave. And I will zoom you guys in now and we will put some makeup on my face. Nope, not even close. It's out me. So, yes, like I said, we are starting with this essential serum and we're going to mix it with the mineral foundation. I got it in the shade 1, I guess? It looks like it's written on there in pen. I don't know. It's a little green. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there, but this shears out as much as you want it to, honestly, because you get to customize it. So we're gonna put the makeup on my face and then we are going to talk about like ingredients and claims and everything like that, but let's go ahead and get to application. So the recommended way of mixing this together is to do one pump in the palm of your hand and then use this little scooper that they gave me. Look at her. It's very petite. Use that to scoop out half of a scoop. Oh yes, half of a scoop of this, and mix it together and, you know, start from there. My experience trying this yesterday was that ended up making way too oily of a foundation experience for me, like oilier than Kosas, oilier than Josie Maran. It was just a little bit much, and I think that was kind of like their suggested starting point. It's like, hey, if you want real sheer coverage, but today I'm going to start with like a half of a pump, like that. And I'm going to use like a full scoop of this stuff. It's a little bit sparkly, but I don't think that it goes on the skin sparkly. I'm gonna take like a heaping scoop here. And it's actually pretty incredible how this stuff like immediately mixes together. It's like, whoa, man. And that is an intense, like more coverage foundation than you might achieve if you did it their way. So I'm gonna start like this. And this is shade 1. I'm going to take another look at that because, I mean, maybe they have like a 0 shade or something, but this does look a little bit dark for me. But a little goes a long way, which is good because this was really expensive. Just do one of these. There. Get the most out of it, right? And I'm going to go in, what did I just do with my sponge? I dampened a sponge. I went to all this trouble. What did I do with it? It fell on the floor. Sorry, little buddy. So like I said, when you mix this initially and you do kind of a low pigment ratio, you do end up with something very similar to the oil foundations that I've tried on my channel. The Kosas tinted oil is very similar, and then the Josie Maran argan oil, which I like less. But I do like the idea. I like this in theory, just the idea of customizability day to day, because honestly, like my taste changes what I want to look like every day. Some days I get up and I go to work and I'm just like, I just want RMS, a little here, a little there, a little flush cheek going on, no powder. And then some days I'm just like, I want to feel a little bit more polish, a little bit more glam. So my version of glam is like not glam at all. It's like, I'm gonna put on earrings. But you can see that that is a little bit kind of like green for me and maybe a little bit tan. So again, I will look at the shade range when we get this all put on and let you guys know if that's like a human error thing, like it's on me, or whether this is actually the lightest shade, because I can't remember. I like that initial application way better than when I did it yesterday because it ended up really, really greasy yesterday. It's a good bit of coverage. Like, I really dig that. I'm wondering, and I kind of want to experiment with it, whether I can use this as just a setting powder as well, or whether that's kind of like too pigmented. But I do want to go in with some concealer underneath my eyes because, like I said, this is kind of like, it's a little bit green. It's a little contrasty, although it is kind of adjusting a little bit. It looks okay. So I'm going to go in with my new fave, you guys. I'm not kidding. This Well People BioCorrect concealer is so, so beautiful. And I am virtually blemish-free at the moment, which is fantastic. I have been using the Thrive mask every single night, like as if it's skincare, and just slathering my face in it. I have been waking up to absolutely like flawless, more and more flawless skin because of that every day. And I really just can't say enough about it. That is just the freaking easiest concealer in the world. I literally wasn't even looking in the mirror when I used that. I want to see kind of what happens if I try and use this as a setting powder. I read the website, you know, in like a cursory way. I'm not sure that I was like, you know, 150% thorough. We'll be 150% thorough. But what I found was with this powder yesterday, like I ended up wiping a little bit of it off. Let's see what it does. Like, does it have too much pigment? It's definitely mattifying, and I'm kind of scared it's going to move the product around. But what I did find yesterday when I was doing this, and like I ended up with a much oilier texture because of the proportions that I mixed, you can like only put the foundation portion of it, like with the liquid mixed in, on certain parts of your face, and then you can buff it with this because this is just a mineral makeup. It's just a mineral foundation, so you end up with like a very seamless kind of situation. If you are someone who doesn't want a whole bunch of like liquid product on your face, you could honestly just use this if that's your thing. If you're more of a like mineral powder foundation girl, there's a good bit of coverage with this. But I just wanted to make sure it didn't like make me look orange. Because, you know, this is the medium. I guess it's not the medium. This is the pigment that you mix in with the medium. And so technically I should just be making a more mattified foundation by using this as my setting powder. But, you know, that's why you play the game, because sometimes you just don't know if theories are gonna pan out in real life. I'm using a baby brush because I was nervous. I was nervous whether this was gonna work, and I didn't want to just buff my whole face. I haven't used that much product here, and it is turning out really beautiful. I'm going to set this first initial base layer here with my new Luscious Cosmetics Spellbinder Makeup Setting Mist with pineapple juice, rose water, and honeysuckle. It is anti-pollution, suitable for all skin types, exotic botanical blend. And I have to say, I think that this is their best packaging yet. When I first tried Luscious Cosmetics, I loved the performance of the products, but I told you guys in that video, I was like, this is not my aesthetic. Like, you opened the box and I was like, well, this is not my aesthetic. But this is some cool freaking packaging. I think that that's just a really, really pretty label. Maybe because I'm really into astrology, it might just be a personal thing, but I think it's awesome. It has alcohol in it, denatured alcohol, which is not like my favorite all the time for a setting spray, but I find that it works really, really well for something like this, where the foundation itself is a little bit oilier. So it helps kind of like penetrate that and set even something like that. Because if I were to just use like a liquid, I feel like they kind of repel one another sometimes, because I tend to go kind of ham with a setting spray. And so when I put on something like this, it doesn't tend to leave kind of like droplet marks as much, and a lot comes out. So you don't have to like spray the daylights out of your face, but it does take a while to dry, which is interesting. You would think with alcohol in it, it wouldn't take so long to dry, but it does. And if I need to kind of like redo DEW myself after the fact, I have this. This is the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist, and I've had this for ages, but there's actually not that much left. But this actually does work really well, and you don't need to use it like a setting spray, not like Jeffree Star, where he just like sprays the crap out of himself. Like, I just do like 2 or 3 on my face and it's fine. Alright, so while this is kind of drying, let me get close so you guys can see initial application. Bear with me on the shade match. We are going to remedy this. So, let me see if I can just, one of those, is that helpful? Yeah. Okay, so we have a very pretty dewy, pretty high coverage situation going on here, which I like a lot. And it played well with that concealer, which I have not done the best job of setting underneath my eyes. I'll probably use a little bit of additional like lighter colored powder underneath my eyes, just because I feel like that just wasn't enough setting for me underneath my eyes. I kind of want to just like make sure that doesn't budge. But what we do get is a little bit of pores. This is definitely not like a blurring foundation texture. And you can see that the shade is not quite right. I don't feel like the coverage is very even. Maybe I didn't do a very good job mixing it, but I don't really know what else I would have done differently. You can see it's patchy, and it might just be also the powder kind of reflecting underneath a little bit of light, but it's not completely like foolproof. I think that it's, you know, gonna be remedied with putting on like bronzer and stuff, but let's see, are we like gathering anywhere? It feels really nice. I will say it feels really nice, and I do like being able to manipulate the coverage, but I don't like that, like, you can see, you know, just a difference in color and like a patchiness right here. And I experienced that yesterday, and I thought I was gonna do a better job today, but apparently not, so, okay. Oh boy, she's turning greener and greener by the moment, isn't she? My gourd. It's like greeny, orangey, olivey, just not the color of me. Okay, I'm going to go do the rest of my situation, and I will be right back, and we'll see if we can kind of meet somewhere in the middle and make this look a little more lifelike. Okay, hi. Be honest guys, I'm really not sure how I feel right now. I feel like there's a lot of makeup on my face, and I feel like this got really muddy. I can make lemonade out of lemons on most days, but this is more made up than I usually am. You can definitely tell. I just look kind of like high contrast is the word I'm looking for. It looks okay in person, but it's just this muddiness on my cheeks is just kind of, it was super frustrating. Even before I put any bronzer or anything on, I went in with my Cary, because I think that was part of the reason my face was turning green, was because I tried using the mineral powder as a powder instead of like using just a regular setting powder. I don't think it necessarily like changed the outcome, but it did not make the makeup stop moving around, which is kind of the whole point of setting it. And I think while, you know, I would love to do like a week-long wear test of trying every single one of the ways to wear this makeup to give you guys like a really exhaustive idea of like what to expect, that if I were to use this as just like a regular like oil foundation, it would probably be fine. It doesn't want to dry down though, like on its own. Like, you know, Kosas is going to dry down on its own. Josie Maran will kind of dry down on its own, but it's not like my favorite because it doesn't really do the best job of it. And I feel like this has a lot of trouble drying down. I feel like they took two products that were fine on their own and just put them together because maybe their audience was doing that on their own. Like they were like, hey, if you mix these together, it actually makes a pretty good foundation. And so they started selling them that way. I have no idea. I'm completely postulating. But yeah, that's how it kind of feels, because I feel like the serum, like I might end up using just as like a nice, you know, moisturizing serum for my skin. And then this powder really works kind of on its own as a really nice powder mineral foundation. I'm not sure that they needed to be combined. Oh, you can tell when your like face itches because stuff's like not completely set down. It's kind of driving me nuts. So the only thing left to do here before we start just kind of reading the claims and whatnot is go in with the lip whip. And I did try to go kind of like pink on the cheeks, but I felt like everything started getting so muddy because like the foundation was grabbing so much product on my face. So I'm not sure we succeeded. This is a really beautiful texture. It kind of like melts down. Like it starts looking like it's gonna be matte, and then when it melts down, it gets really, really smooth. Just not sure if this is the color for me. And to be honest, I'd be interested to try this foundation without powder and to use the lip whip as like a cheek color. Not the most like foolproof thing in the world because it's super highly pigmented for just a regular balm. All right, let me get close here and show you guys kind of what we're dealing with, and then I will go on the website and we will double check all the things that I've been talking about. All right, so pigmentation wise on this lip color, it's a little patchy. I do have quite a bit of it on, and it's kind of hard to get an even coating of it, but I think that it's pretty. It might not be worth $20, but it's pretty. And this is what I'm talking about. It's just a lot of makeup, and I did the same routine that I always do, but no matter how much I set it or set it with setting spray or powder or whatever, like there's a lot of makeup on my face. Like it just grabbed my bronzer, my blush, and everything. And you guys saw I only used a half a pump of the serum. I just think that maybe this is meant to be worn on its own, not with powder, not as like an actual foundation, like more of just like an oil tint, which is interesting. I thought it would be more customizable than that. Like I feel like that would have been a gimme to just wear it that way and wear test it that way. Like that's kind of obvious, but since it's a customizable foundation, I wanted to kind of test the limits of it and see how much coverage we could get out of it. And so, you know, I doctored the proportions, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that I don't think that it really lends itself well to that. So let's go on the website, take a look at what they suggest and all the claims and whatnot. I don't want to wear this all day. I don't like it. This one's gonna be hard. I don't like it. Also, I had this idea where since I have all these foundations kind of piling up and I've been testing them and a lot of them have been working out really well, like the clean foundations, I think when it gets hot outside here, I'm gonna do one big video where I do like a wear test every single day, and I just do kind of like a super cut of like the end of the day after wearing each of them in hot weather. Does that sound cool to you guys? Because I feel like it's not really exhaustive to say like, yeah, this worked great in like 50-degree weather when it wasn't raining or anything. But when it's hot in Austin, that's when things are really put to the test, and we will see the breaking point of all of these clean foundations. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. Obviously, like that's way down the line. Way down the line. I don't even want to think about summer right now. Okay, so confirmed. I have the lightest shade. I have shade 1, and it is dark. It is like olivey, and I'm not a fan of it. They do offer a matching kit where they just send you a bunch of little samples, but I got the lightest one and I need it to be lighter, so I don't think that a sample kit would have really helped me in that sense. With our customizable liquid foundation, we make it easy for you to customize your coverage for a flawless look. With 1 pump of essential serum added to our lightweight mineral makeup, you instantly have a liquid foundation that provides moisturizing, long-lasting, light-reflecting coverage. If you desire a sheerer look or tinted moisturizer, simply add less foundation powder. The broad color palette gives a range of color options that are both flattering and complementary. That's not how you spell complementary. To most skin tones, our foundation is free of talc, synthetic fragrance, dyes, bismuth, oxychloride, parabens, nanoparticles, and animal testing. The essential serum is a potent blend of 15 plant and essential oils known for their nourishing properties, plus a boost of natural vitamin E, providing customizable levels of moisture to the skin. Shades 1 through 6 have warm undertones. 7 and 8 have neutral to cool undertones. Whoa, 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 what? Oh my god, that's so weird. So like it goes 1 through 6 and they just keep getting darker. By the way, this is a very annoying way to have to look at this stuff because this thing like wants to jump. Like you can't, can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. When you're scrolling through these shades on your phone, they're very annoying because it like doesn't want to show you and it just jumps. So I got shade 1 thinking, okay, well this is obviously the lightest shade because they just keep getting darker. Turns out that when you get to like 7, it's like rosy. It's like a light-ish shade. I'm really not sure. But I'm still a warm undertoned person. I just think that that's interesting. I don't think that 7 would necessarily work better for me. It doesn't look like it's actually like super light, but what a weird way to do things. I think that that's a really counterintuitive way to do things. It's just not what I'm used to. That said, you guys, there are 8 shades here and 6 being the darkest, I believe, darkest, warmest. How good of a match that would be for a lot of, you know, the world. So it leaves a little bit to be desired in that sense. Details includes your chosen shade of foundation, powder, and essential serum, 30 milliliters, moisturizing, long-lasting coverage, mineral powder and essential serum combined for a truly customizable liquid foundation, broad range of flattering shades, cruelty-free. So if you were to buy a 3.4 ounce of this essential serum, which you can use on its own, it would be $175. So this is like, you know, just a very practical size, I still think, but because the $175 one is like enormous. So that is interesting that these really are just 2 separate products that they sell. Ingredients, camellia seed oil, rosehip seed oil, sunflower oil, jojoba oil, avocado oil, sweet almond oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, calendula, olive oil, arnica, lavender, frankincense, rose, jasmine, sea buckthorn, ylang ylang, and vitamin E. So like, depending on how you feel about essential oils, those are all like home run essential oils. Like I could see just using this as a night serum. Like I'm not mad that I own this because I think that this is going to be a very good skincare product. I don't really think it works as well as a makeup base the way that they're kind of like saying that it's going to. So let's talk also about that mineral powder. So our lightweight mineral makeup provides long-lasting light reflecting coverage while allowing the skin to breathe, free of talc, synthetic fragrance, dyes, bismuth, oxychloride, parabens, nanoparticles from animal testing. Ingredients on this guy: titanium dioxide, iron oxide, zinc oxide, mica, fragrance-free, dye-free, paraben-free, cruelty-free. So there's no real skincare ingredients in this guy. It's very simple, it's just a mineral makeup, but there's no promises here as to like it actually being a skincare product, which, you know, a lot of the powders that I use are. This guy is $30 for an 8.5, which is this size. This is $30 on its own. It's $78 for the combination. And you get like a really, really nice serum. And like I said, I did use this just kind of to blend yesterday on top of like nothing. Like I had just put a little bit of the liquid. So you could just use this as a serum, let it cook on your skin for a while, and then use this as just a mineral foundation. And I think it would probably work better. I just don't think mixing them together makes as much sense as they want it to. But we'll see. Oh, and let's talk about the lip whip. The lip whip is definitely her big, like, Instagram-y thing that I just keep getting, like, that's how I heard of Kari Gran, was it just kept getting thrown at me. So they have a bunch of different shades, but, like, the lighter colored ones are shimmery, and I was a little on the fence about that. So I got it in the shade Jolene, and it looks very, like, I don't know, hot pink berry online. And then it's a little bit more kind of like blue pink in person. I was between that and this Suji, which is a really pretty kind of deep red. Honestly, I think that like a Genie would probably work really well on me. It's one of those kind of like deeper berry tones that once it shears out, it looks really flattering on like pale skin. But they do have just regular old like tinted and untinted and stuff. Like if I were to do it again, I would probably just get the peppermint basic like light pink, because this is just not something that I reach for. It's not something that when it comes off of my lips, I think, oop, gotta put that back on because it looked so good. It just doesn't really flatter my skin that well, so I think I kind of meant to give it to my sister because she's very like olive complected, brown hair, you know, like Violette, where she just always is like pink cheeks, pink blush all the time. Like, you know, this kind of color looks good on brunettes, and so it's not really my thing. But yeah, she also does lip scrubs and whatnot. Let's see what the like claims slash appeal of this is and why it's $20. So buildable shade allows you to go from a sheer pink to an opaque fuchsia. Vibrant and bold, Jolene adds an exciting pop of color, pairs well with shimmer. Okay, so lip whip color balms are the perfect mix between a balm and a lipstick. These velvety whips incorporate the most essential, effective lip-loving ingredients that actually nourish and moisturize versus temporarily masking dehydration, dryness, flakiness, and chapped lips. These color balms are naturally derived pigments to provide a range of shades that complement. It's not going to give you a compliment, okay? It's going to complement, like it's going to look good with. It's with an E. It's with an E. Anyway. For most skin tones, from a sheer glossy look to a bold lip, Kari Gran color balms give you the pop of color you want without sacrificing the moisture boost your lips need. Ingredients. Okay, we got castor seed oil, sunflower oil, camellia seed, olive oil, calendula, I love calendula, vitamin E, and peppermint oil. And the peppermint oil makes it kind of like plump feeling, which is really nice. So I think I would, you know, buy more of these. I think that it's a very, very pretty formula. I just think I kind of blew it on the color. First impressions slash, you know, it's not really a first impression. Yesterday was a first impression for me, but like initial impressions on wearing it at this ratio. Makeup is supposed to feel good when you're putting it on and when you're wearing it. This required a slightly more experienced hand and a lot more delicate of an approach in order to even get it to look this good. A year ago, I think I would have thrown this out the window just because I wasn't experienced enough to make something like this work. Do I want to have to do the work to make something work, especially when it's $80? No. I don't want to have to do the work to do that. And I think that if I'm recommending all of these clean beauty products to people, if you are looking for a product like this that's going to give you that like very lightweight oil consistency, go with the Kosas. Where did it go? This. Use the Kosas. It's phenomenal. Like, it's just a way easier, more user-friendly product. If you want something that's higher coverage, that's going to be a clean product, go with this guy. Go with the Lawless. Like, this is an amazing, amazing kind of like dewy, full coverage, clean foundation that I really, really enjoy. Great for like, you know, wanting to look a little bit more snatched, but you know, making sure that your skin is like still breathing and cared for. But those are my initial thoughts. I just think that this is a very good idea, very good in theory, but it's just not hitting the marks for me from the standpoint of ease of use and like a pleasure. I am going to try and wear it all day. I'm gonna go get my nails done, and I've got like my house to clean and stuff like that. But for what it is, guys, I'm really not sure I'm gonna make it the whole day. So I will check in with you guys when I decide to wash it off, and I will show you the close-ups and let you know kind of why. But if I make it to the end of the day and it's like a home run, then I'll let you know that too. Because sometimes these things have like redeeming qualities that I don't discover until after a couple of hours of wear. So stay tuned. I will see you guys at the end of my day. I've tried to film this shot 4 times now, and either my camera was out of room, my battery died, I was overexposed, my family. What about my family? Nothing about my family. My camera shut off just on its own. So it is the end of my day, and I did actually make it to the end of my day wearing this makeup, which is really surprising because it's been driving me crazy basically since I put it on. Mike asked me to go and like walk around South Congress with him and the dog, and it just gave me an excuse to get out of the house and not pay attention to this makeup for a couple of hours, for the last couple of hours of the wear test. So I actually managed to like get done with it. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts here. One is it's really accentuating all of the like flaws in my face. And I mean, exaggerating, not just accentuating. Like, I never thought of myself as having very large, deep pores, but like this makes me look like I have large, deep pores. I'm gonna zoom in a second and show you. It's also breaking up kind of everywhere, and I often describe foundations in a negative light this way. I say, it feels like it has no emulsifier, like it's literally just powder pigment suspended in a serum, and once you wear it for too long, they kind of decide to separate again. I don't know why it didn't occur to me that it would be that way in this case, because obviously I just mixed a pigment in with a serum, but that's exactly what's happening. And so you can really see as the serum kind of starts to betray you that like it's just powder pigment sitting on the skin. So other than that, the coverage level that I ended up mixing with the ratio that I did, I feel like was an attempt to make it less dewy so that I could wear a powder over it. And it gave it a very pretty texture when I first did it, but I ended up using not only the powder foundation that they provided, but also a setting powder on top of that just to get it to like dry down, which I feel like contributed very much to this being a very heavy face of makeup. But that should have at least set the makeup enough that it didn't grab this product like this, and it did. It just grabbed so much, and I can really feel that. I feel like the heaviness on my face of like how muddy that is right there. And I also don't love how it got kind of like greasy on my forehead. Like, I'm all about dewy as long as everything's kind of like the same level of dewy and it's something that I meant to do. But we're like dewy here and we're dewy here in a way that's not intended. Plus, I am fair warm, and this is the fairest warm shade that they have. And it is obviously not a good match for me. It is very like green olive, yellow, mainly green olive, and it just is kind of not salvageable, I guess. And so, you know, when I do a skin look like this, I do like it to behave like skin and look like skin and things like that, and like that's the biggest barrier here. A, the shade match was so off, and B, like it doesn't have any of that pigment flexibility that a lot of these foundations have. Like Cary has this incredible, like all day long, like pigment richness that really bends with your face. So does the It Cosmetics. Both of the It Cosmetics, but mainly the Bye Bye foundation. It just has like built-in technology that really flexes with your face. So does the Lawless. The Lawless is what I would probably recommend over this if you wanted to go for something like this high coverage, I would definitely recommend the Woke Up Like This from Lawless, because it does give you that same level of coverage, but it does dry down, A, and B, it's gonna give you that pigment flexibility. So let's go ahead and zoom in so I can show you guys what we're working with here, because it's just not ideal. And the reason that I compared it to those two specifically is because this is very, very pricey. I'm not a big fan of the idea of making a compromise to begin with on price. Like, if I'm gonna pay drugstore prices for something, I want it to like blow my mind still. And the fact that I paid 80 bucks for this and it's not blowing my mind is just like a hard pass, mainly because it's, at the end of the day, my responsibility is to you guys, and I would hate if you spent your money on this. I would hate it. It would kill me. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be a little bit more brutal on this. So everything I said about the concealer really cooperating with this foundation is completely incorrect. I take it all back, because I feel like what ended up happening is, because I put the foundation on underneath it, it's oily, and then the concealer is not oily, and so the concealer just totally broke up. It's just basically gone. There's some lines in the makeup from my sunglasses, don't mind that. And you can see it's like all but gone here. Like I said, all the little pigment particles kind of backed away. And if I haven't said it enough already, the muddiness is so real. I would be so frustrated using this every morning. And then we end up again with just poor pigment match. So as it kind of like gathered in like my peach fuzz, you know what I mean? I don't have a unibrow, but you always have, like, you know, mammals have peach fuzz. And so I have peach fuzz kind of all around here, and it just gathered all that makeup there. And then on my nose, you can see it's just pretty much like gone-ish. And then also where I bend my face like that, when I scrunch my face up, it's leaving all these creases, which is weird because it's really greasy. You wouldn't think it would leave all these weird dry patches, but it's probably because I had to use so much powder to powder it down. So I know it's only been a minute since I said this for you guys, but it's been kind of, you know, all day since I've said it to myself, so I'm just gonna say this to reassure myself. I think that this is going to work fine as a powder foundation. I'm like A-okay with that as a concept. I'm A-okay with this being a very highly moisturizing combination of oils that I'm going to use as kind of a night serum or something like that. This is not greater than the sum of its parts. It is not worth $78 of your money in that case, unless you literally are like, I just want the foundation powder and I want a smaller container than they sell of the serum, and I only want to pay $78 for it. You go Glen Coco. But if you are expecting this to be a high-performing foundation, I'm here to tell you, on so many levels, it is not worth your money. So, hard pass. These are my thoughts on the Kari Gran foundation. Oh, and then the Lip Whip. I'm a fan. It's $20, which is kind of a lot for a lip product, but the ingredients are really good. So, you know, do with that what you will. I don't necessarily think that this is some kind of like vital lip product that's going to be in like my top shelf forever. It's definitely not that, just because the color, the pigmentation is very inconsistent, and so it's not very user-friendly. I like a balm that I don't need a mirror to apply. You know, it's just, that's just my personal routine, and we've talked about this, how it's not so much about doing it exactly right to the specifications of the brand, it's more about does it fit into your routine. And if you're like me, and if you're gonna pull a balm out of your purse, you wanna be able to put it on without a mirror, like this is not that balm. So I think in the future, or if I were to do it again, I would just get a lighter or non-color in this, because it's a very pretty formula and it's a very nourishing formula, but the color just doesn't do it for me, and the actual quality of the pigment makes me think I probably wouldn't like any of the really heavily pigmented ones that they do. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. I'll be like Kiki G if that's your truth. And if you are new and you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe before you leave. I would love it if you did. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so freaking much. That's why I do this. It's because I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. It's nasty. It's nasty. I'm gonna wash my face.